that up is Tom Brady was in his 40s, obviously recently retired. So, Mark, let me ask you this. At what point do you think it is time to retire? And what do you say to the haters that might be hating on you for still competing, even though you're in your 50s, but look like you're freaking 25?
This is what I say. You know, I've got some exciting stuff coming out this year. I can't share all of it yet, but I've got some exciting stuff where, you know, you're going to see me in situations, maybe going against some younger people. The difference is with him too, is like, if I went to these shows or went on Survivor or went back to the challenge and just really did terrible and didn't make the finals or didn't beat people in elimination, like I wouldn't toot my own horn that I'm still capable of winning these things. But it is yet to be proven that is the case. Just like Tom Brady, I was pissed because, you know, he's 44, and let me tell you, I'm bringing myself back 6 years to 44. You still are very, if you are healthy, you're very athletic, and you're very, for him, the quarterback position, you know, he's not sprinting 100 yards every play. So if he stays protected and the arm and shoulder are still right, I mean, it's a shoo-in that he could have played more. In fact, I almost feel like he's going to sit this year out and he's going to miss it so much. He'll miss it so much because he can't stand not competing, that he's going to go back for one more year. And you heard it here first if that happens. But, I mean, I get it. Even All-Stars, you know, there's nothing better than putting on the Under Armour socks and shoes and your uniform, and, you know, you're 50 years old, like putting on like you're going to play like a 21-year-old man's game. But, you know, I never thought I lost a step. I'm definitely stronger. I'm heavier, more muscular, and stronger now than I was when I probably in my heyday of the challenge. Yeah, am I sore? Like, do I get sore from sleeping sometimes? Absolutely. But it's not like I'm injured. I'm just a little sore. I said this in the reunion. I said, I'm kind of like a rusty barnyard tractor that it might take a couple cranks to start up, and it might smoke and rattle a little bit. But once it's warmed up, this tractor could run through the side of a barn, no problem. And I feel like that's how I am, is once I get warmed up and the body feels a little good, there's nothing stopping me. So I'm definitely not hanging up the cleats yet. I still want to do a few shows, honestly. Like, I still see myself doing a Survivor. I see myself doing a potential Big Brother if they ever let me compete on that. Here's a scoop for you, B. I'm planning on doing producing a reality boxing match by the end of the year, and it's going to have a lot of familiar faces. And I'm working with someone that is very, very dialed in that world, and it's going to be a fun event. Everyone wants me to fight this Fessy guy, who is one of the younger cats and one of the big guys on the younger cats. I've already reached out to him, and we're going to try to make that happen. And lots of fun things coming up that are sports related that are going to be awesome. So stay tuned.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all that information. I know that the BosBabes fanatics are like, what the heck? I cannot wait for all of these Mark Long projects to drop. Before we switch on over, guys, stay with us. You are now listening to Mark Long, entrepreneur, reality TV star, freaking you name it. This guy does literally everything. We're going to be talking about the Challenge All-Stars, which Mark obviously heavily began himself way back like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. What you're seeing now was a long process, and you're going to hear him talk about it shortly. While we are on the topic of staying young and feeling young, Mark, do you have any tips for those that might be listening that are like, oh, my back hurts, my feet hurt, I can't do this anymore? How do you stay young and look young? What are your tips besides working out?
Here's my thing. Is like, before, like, I would say this, like 15, 20 years ago, like, I used to work out because, you know, obviously like everyone else at that age, you want to look big, you want to fit good in clothes, you want to be the muscular guy on the beach or whatever. You just want size for sports. But I've said this now multiple times over the past probably few years, is I exercise and work out now because when I go into the gym and when I leave the gym, my headspace is so much better. And I do it now more for my mental health. I think the positives I get from working out physically, that is what it is. But I think the main thing is, for me now, my mental health, I know that working out and exercising is a huge part of keeping my mental health strong, which I know is a topic that has becoming more and more normal lately to talk about, which is great. I've been watching the Olympics. I've been watching Michaela Schifrin. She fell twice on her first 2 events. I'm sure she's mentally beating herself up, but mental health today is so important. So I just think for me, I like to create a drama-filled environment. I'm not a big drama guy or an argument guy or a hold grudges guy. So I like to keep a crystal clear mind as well as a drama-free life. And again, there's no secret except be consistent. If you're consistent at anything, you're gonna be good at it, right? So if you're consistent, like your boyfriend, if you're consistent in throwing and pitching and be consistent, you're gonna be great. And as soon as you not, do that consistently, your skills are gonna fall off. So I'm consistently in the gym. I'm consistently trying to be in a good mood. I'm consistently being positive and trying to push positivity on other people who I feel like might be down that day. I'm not a huge drinker anymore. I might drink once every 2 weeks, and it's just a few beers or a few drinks. It's not like I'm like let's go out Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and stay out till 3 a.m. and be around smoky rooms. Like, I'm not that guy anymore. So I'd rather wake up with a clear mind. And, like I said, I have a house now, so I do a bunch of crap around the house. I'm like an old guy around the house, fixing stuff up, or I have a dock out there and I'm fixing the backyard up and figuring out that situation. But got to get a fishing pole, got to get a fishing pole out there. But I just think, and I said this all the time, consistency is key to life, whether it's consistent sleep, consistent surrounding yourself with people that lift you up rather than put you down, consistently exercising and eating right. And trust me, I have cheat days like you wouldn't believe. Like, if you see my cheat days, you'd be like, what in the hell? Like, I have the biggest sweet tooth. It's unbelievable. Consistency is key, especially when you get older. You're going to have aches and pains no matter what, but if you can just stretch and be consistent, I know I keep saying that word, but it's the truth.
Well, I love how you are bringing up the topic of consistency, because it kind of ties into the moment we've been waiting for. We are about to talk about the OG of OGs. We all know that Mark Long is literally the godfather of reality TV. If you guys don't know who the hell he is, you clearly don't watch anything reality TV related. So I'm sorry for your soul. Go check out some of Mark Long's work that he's been a part of, especially MTV related. So Mark, a couple years ago, decided to start this sort of like online campaign where he really like gained speed, not only from cast members like myself, but also TJ Lavin, which you guys know he's the current host of MTV's The Challenge and also the Allstars. He was gaining speed with freaking tabloids and online sources and whatnot. So he pushed and pushed and pushed for his own, I would call it not really like a reboot, but kind of like a reboot in the sense where he took the idea of MTV's The Challenge and was like, let's do an All-Stars series. He is currently on season 2. I think that just recently wrapped up. Before we ask Mark how he got into that, if you guys are interested in viewing it, it is actually not on MTV. It is on Paramount Plus. So feel free to go check out seasons 1 and seasons 2. Ryan and I actually watched season 1 and we highly enjoyed it. So the rest is history. Mark, describe how this came about and how did you believe it was going to happen?
Always knew it could work because I remember just getting random tweets all the time saying, oh, when are you going back to the challenge? Or hearing other people like, older veterans getting the same kind of questions. And, not that we fell out of love with the fandom, because we didn't. It's just they kind of moved on with the flagship show, kind of like a real hardcore, like if you watch it now, like TJ calls them agents, and it's very, very like, I don't know, I want to say not overproduced, but it's very produced. Like there's explosions and all this stuff. And I just always felt like, one of the things that was cool when we did it was very organic and very natural and not overly produced at all. So I, believe it or not, this past June, I put out that tweet saying, hey, what do you guys think about an all OG cast challenge? Easy shoot, few weeks, whatever. And it went viral. And then Us Weekly called and we did an article about it. And then when the Us Weekly article hit, that's when it really gained some steam. And I said in the article that I was, you know, sifting through production companies to partner with for this. And, you know, I had a gentleman who did a lot of VH1 reality competition reach out. And then I shared that with one of my contacts at Peter Murray. And then the day after that, I had a conversation with them and they were like, you know, there's no way we're going to let you do this show with anyone but us. So we formed a partnership deal and I get that executive producer credit, which is awesome. And I have that for the life of the show. So season 1, 2, and future seasons. And it just was a perfect fit. So, and one of the best compliment that I get from that show is people are like, you know, when I watch Allstars, I just, from the music to the scenes, like I just smile the entire show because it's just fun. And that's exactly what I wanted to accomplish with this show. I didn't want it to be like the flagship show. Like I didn't want it to be so advanced and far away from the roots of what the show was. So the entire music soundtrack reflects the era. It's all 90s. First season, we had a big 90s party and it was, you know, people dressed up in their favorite 90s outfits and the fans loved that. And the thing that really gets me is even the critics who sometimes kind of shit on a lot of other shows, like even the critics love Allstars. Like one of my biggest compliments was Barstool Sports. And you know, Barstool, they're very honest. And if they don't like something, they'll say it's trash and all that stuff. But Barstool Sports loves Challenge Allstars. And they said it's setting the bar for all other reality competition shows. It's like a blueprint of what everyone should do. So by hearing all that, and Us Weekly loved it, people loved it. So this is huge, Brittany. So this is I'm going to give you a couple awards kind of things we won. Entertainment Weekly voted the first episode of season 1 that I was on the top 30 episodes of TV in general for 2021. All genres, all TV. Episode 1 was in the top 30 of their voting, which was phenomenal because there's huge shows on there. You know, Yellowstone was on there. I think a lot of scripted shows were on there. So the fact that we got a top 30 of the episodes was great. Then TV Guide named it the top 100 shows that you should be watching right now on all TV. Again, it wasn't just reality shows. It was all TV shows. And the flagship show, The Challenge, didn't make that list. They didn't make the top 30 thing. So we're doing something right, hoping we do many more seasons. Paramount Plus has been great. And I think it's cool because one of the things we can do on Paramount Plus is they don't edit the cursing. Not that we, you know, are proud of cursing all the time, but it's kind of fun to hear people really react. In season 1, Arissa had a really good moment where she just told everyone to F off and TJ to F off and stormed off the set. So like that was a real moment. So I don't know. It's going good. First season was well received. Second season was super well received with some familiar faces. And, you know, at the end of season 2, TJ says there's a little clip. It shows him in Panama walking through a big house kind of with his hands saying, if you thought that was good, wait till you see what I have for him next. So obviously from TJ's mouth to your ears, looks like a season 3 is coming down the pike, hopefully sooner than later. So, it was a wild ride, man. I started this We Want OGs Twitter page, and I started this. The first tweet was, I said, my first tweet on it, I said, hey, remember this tweet. It's going to be a wild ride. And sure enough, it has been a wild ride. You know, I've done major press for this show and flew all over the place in New York and had reunions. And we had a huge premiere party or finale party out in Los Angeles at Michael Jackson's mansion where he actually passed away, bless his soul. But like, this is like a rebirth of not only the cast, but just the organic nature of that show and just the ability to really laugh at ourselves again and have a lot of fun. But, you know, I always say this, you know, when Allstars comes out, you don't have to Google the cast. You know the cast, like, you know who they are from where they've come from. A lot of these other shows now, you got to Google this one, and they're from this show in this country where you've never seen or heard of. So one thing that we stay true to is when our cast comes out, you know exactly who they are and which shows they've been on. So that's kind of cool too.
I really love that you hit upon all those important points. And one of the big points that you hit upon was being authentic and true and kind of bringing it back to old school reality TV where it was very authentic, like almost like one of the original seasons of The Real World, which is what the first season of All-Stars reminded me of, because again, Ryan and I did watch it, and it kind of reminded me of just like that whole authentic, throw in some friends into this house, see what happens, but not needing the big kabooms and starting petty drama. Like if drama gets stirred up, it will, but like you guys didn't have the crazy hookups because it wasn't needed. It was very real and true and authentic.
Yeah, and I think there's room for that, right? There's room for that if it's organically happens. But I mean, you know, even with like something like an explosion, like, well, you know, why are we blowing 3 vans apart? How does that even, what does that even have to do with the concept of the show? So you know, we have some great funny moments in there. You know, we all are older, so like some of us aren't as in tip-top shape as before, but everyone fights their ass off in this show because they just love being there. When we left season 1 and season 2, it's like people just were thanking me. Like if you watch, TJ Lavin is a different personality on All-Stars. He laughs his ass off the entire time, whereas the flagship show, he's kind of serious. He's more of a serious host. So he laughs and laughs and laughs at us and jokes with us. And, you know, I feel like there's a connection before he even meets us, because even on season 1, he just walked up. He's like, it's great to see some of you motherfuckers again. And I was like, same here, TJ, same here. So I think he loves it just as much as the fans love it. And, you know, we are wild when it's time to be wild in the house, and you'll see that, you know, but, you know, we also respect him and respect the production. And when we need to get in line, we get in line. But I hope that it doesn't get screwed up. You know what I mean? Like I'll do what I can not to screw it up, but I hope they don't screw it up, and I hope they keep it true to its form in the hopefully coming years, you know?
I really hope that they keep it going for more seasons, especially since you have some top cast members on there. I wanted to point out the fact that you had John A on your season, who actually just recently won season 2, I believe. We'll talk about that shortly. I was really good friends with John A on my season of The Challenge. Mark freaking competed, so I want to ask Mark shortly about what it was like not only to compete, but also produce Jemmy, Nehemiah, Darrell, and much more as far as cast members were on seasons 1 and season 2. So Mark, what the heck was it like putting together this cast? And for you, what was it like not only being a cast member and competing, but also helping produce the first season?
So what I did, because this is what a lot of people always ask, they're like, well, how can you compete and you can also produce? You've got to know some inside knowledge. And it's actually the exact opposite. So before season 1, I got together about, I don't know, 75, 80 names that had reached out to me wanting to be considered. And, you know, lots of top tier names since season 2, even, and since, you know, from, as TJ said, as season 3 is coming out, even since then, there's other huge names that haven't been seen that want to come back because they see what the show is. But as soon as they want me to compete or want me to be involved in a cast member, I send them the cast that has shown interest, and then they basically block me out. Like, I don't know any of the format. I didn't even know, here's how much, I said this to Derek, I think. I said, Derek, you probably know more than I know at this point, but I said this to Derek and Darrell first season. I said, I didn't even know that TJ Lavin was going to be the host until I showed up to the show, where the spoilers and whatnot, they get released like those guys knew before me. So I really don't know the format. I don't know. Of course, some cast members call each other, and that's just the nature of the game. But I didn't know who hosted it. I didn't know if it was going to be an individual game. I didn't know if it was going to be teams. I sure as hell didn't know what the challenges were going to be. When they decide I'm going to compete, I'm really left out in the dark. And trust me, the producers let everyone know. They're like, hey, Mark gets an executive producer credit, but he's just in the dark as you. So feel free to throw him in elimination. And I'm always like, why do you say that? Because then you're planting my name already in their mind of throwing in elimination. So I always laugh at that. But it's just a cool thing that I get to be involved in. You know, I get to reach out to them and ask them questions and put my input in for what I think might work, or an idea I might have, or a person that reaches out to me. But when I literally sign up to put those Under Armour shorts on and sign on the dotted line, I am literally the person that knows the least before we get on that plane, just to make it fair. Because I mean, obviously you want it to be in a fair playing ground. So, but like you said, the John A's, like John A coming back was huge. Season 2, like Ayanna and MJ and Darrell's always a fan favorite, and Derek, and just Beth and Cyrus, and it's crazy. Like, but you know, season 3 that TJ teased, it is going to be epic. That is all I can say about that. Is the cast is ridiculously epic. So you're gonna be in for a real treat.
Well, BosBabes fanatics, you heard it here first. Mark Long is dropping the bomb. Apparently, TJ already kind of hinted as well. Season 3 will be coming out sooner rather than later. I am looking forward to watching it. It'll give me something to watch while Ryan's away doing baseball on his little road trips.
Some of your favorites will be there, B. Trust me.
I'm looking forward to it. I love watching my friends compete. That's like one of my favorite shows to watch, because I'm like, okay, this is awesome. I can keep up with Mark. I can keep up with John A. Maybe Jenna and Zach will come back at some point when they're stopped baby making. Like, who the heck knows? Maybe they'll make a baby on the show. Who knows, Mark?
Right. Challenge baby.
A full-on challenge baby. Before we wrap up this show, because of course I have to ask Mark what he's doing this summer. Before we even get into that, Mark, any little like fun behind the scenes you can share with us? It doesn't have to be anything TV show related. What happens when the cameras shut down? Obviously, it's a reality TV show and you guys film pretty much 24/7, but I'm sure the BosBabes fanatics are like, okay, what does the cast do when they're about to go to bed, or when they're making dinner, if they make dinner? Because a lot of the times our food is catered, but share some little behind the scenes that people don't necessarily know about.
You know what's funny about, I don't know if the flagship show cast does this, but in terms of maybe it's because we're just older and more creative. I don't know. That's not a dig at them, but maybe it is true. Like in the evenings when we're doing nothing, like we're very creative. Like whether it's playing old school charades or hiding someone's stuff and then having them read little ransom notes trying to find their stuff, and where the whole house is in on it except the person that we're pranking. We'll do our own cooking. We did some barbecues that wasn't shown, that we did on ourselves. It's just fun because it's almost like a huge slumber party, because everyone is bouncing around from each other's rooms. Like, what's going on in this room? Am I missing anything out? Like, is it fun in this room? Okay, this room sucks. Let's go to the next room. Hey, so Darrell, you're in this room? Oh, Darrell's sleeping. He's got his mask on with his headphones on. So like it's fun because it's like a grown-up slumber party, and everyone is just bouncing around because, again, some people go to bed early, some people go to bed late, some people need their sleep, some people get annoyed when you start talking in the room and yell at you. So it's super fun, and we like to have, there's some more parties coming up, I can say that, I think. It's just kind of a staple now of the show, but it's just, I don't know, we get along, and we're super creative, and it shows in our personalities, in the moods of the show too. I don't know. It's like a slumber party / fraternity sorority house. We respect each other's space when we need to, but I mean, literally, your shit's on top of everyone else's shit. So it's definitely, if you don't like living in close quarters and you know, being able to change in front of people in privacy, and you know, maybe shower when the shower someone's in there shaving, it's like it is. So when you leave there, I mean, when you leave a house like that, you know everyone and treat them like a brother or sister just because of the stuff you went through in the house. There's nothing taboo about it. There's nothing weird, or it's just such a fun vibe in that house. And now we know that, you know, obviously nothing lasts forever, you know, but we enjoy every minute of it now because we got a second chance to go back and kind of play these carnival games that we all loved. And the fans can see our happiness through our own projection of what we're doing. So it's super fun, man. And I just love doing it. You would think at 50 years old, I get tired of doing it, but I think I'm just getting warmed up, to be honest with you. So we'll see.
That's a freaking excellent answer. Like, I'm so happy that I asked that because I'm sure a lot of listeners are sitting here wondering, like, what the heck do these cast members do when the lights go off, or what do they do when the camera is shut down? So thank you so much for getting into detail about what it's like behind the scenes. Before we wrap up the show, I want to first off thank you, Mark, for sharing so much again about your family life, moving back down to Florida. You spent a lot of time in LA, and you have been producing. You've been creating new shows. Season 3 of the OG All-Star MTV's The Challenge will be coming out sooner rather than later, so please keep posted on Mark's social media and TJ's social media because you know he will probably be dropping bombs on that as well. Yeah. I was so happy to have TJ on the podcast. Shout out to TJ for coming on here as well. Mark, before we wrap up, you know I need to ask you, what the heck are you doing this summer? And you need to end the show with some positive pop, baby.
Okay. All right. I got you. This summer, I'm going to plan a big trip back out to Huntington Beach, California. Kind of mimic what we did a few years ago. I'm going to get a house. I'm going to get surfboards. I'm going to get a barbecue. And we're going to stay out there for a couple of weeks. I still have such a ton of group of friends out there and do that. And then I also want, like, I did a travel show years ago and I went to Thailand. And Thailand was always such a great place that I went and covered it in terms of going to all these different places, and I went to a Cobra show and all this crazy stuff, but I didn't get to do it on my terms. So I want to try to make it back out to Thailand, do it like really on the cheap, almost backpack style, because it was such a cool culture and I wanted to do it on my terms. So travel for me this summer. And again, I never sleep on producing my stuff. So if it means I can't go, then I will be here. But I mean, it's just, there's a lot of fires in a lot of irons in the fire. If we want to end with some positivity, I will tell you this. I am a 50-year-old man. If you're listening to this, whether you're a female or a male and you're younger, you only get a trip around this world once. And my parents have never steered me into a direction that I did not want to go. If your parents are like that, don't listen to them, because you are your own person. And follow your dreams. You're never too old to pursue them. I had it took me moving back to Florida last year to have my best year in Hollywood and on TV yet. You're never too old to continue that dream. And don't let anyone stop you. And like I said, we'll come back to the word. Be consistent with your dreams. Be consistent with your passion. Wake up, and when you're working and that other person is sleeping, do the work and you will be rewarded. I promise you that. So that is my positivity to end this podcast.
Woo, Mark, that was some excellent positive pop. I'm always freaking thrilled when I have you on this podcast, and I'm always thrilled when I get random little texts from you or voice messages on Instagram. Mark is literally the most positive person. Like, if he is a friend of yours, I'm telling you right now, if you are feeling down, he'll be the first person to reach out and be like, hey, congratulations. Like, I just saw that you just did this, or, hey, I heard that you're not feeling well. I know. I was going to say, when I was not feeling well, I remember Mark literally, I don't know if he called me or texted me or DM'd me. He reached out to me and was like, B, like, are you feeling okay? I'm telling you, Mark is one of the most real and authentic people. And I thank you so much for coming on here. Please shout out your social media, because I know people want to keep up with your wild adventures.
So Twitter and Instagram is all the same. It's at @themarkalong. I'm on Cameo if you need me to surprise you with something. So anything you'd like. But I think around season 3, I'm going to put out some new swag too. So be on the lookout for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. Have a fabulous rest of your winter, even though you're down in Florida, so it's technically still summer. And I cannot wait to see all of your projects that are about to drop.
Thank you, Di. I appreciate it.